Hi, I'm Mike, and I'm a financial coach at Claro. Throughout much of my life, a massive passion of mine has been like sports and fitness. And so I always just wanted to be basically a personal trainer or a strength and conditioning coach or something along those lines. And so I was gearing kind of towards that throughout university. And so I wanted to stand myself, even though you don't need it to be a personal trainer, stand myself kind of above the rest or try and do that by having a relevant degree in that field. And so it was basically like, yeah, anatomy and physiology, biomechanics, even kind of the science of coaching and things like that. That is what I studied at university. So it was nothing financial related, actually. What got me into financial coaching was a bit of a long-winded route. So where, for instance, I was personal training, happened to be personal training in Dubai at the time for Fitness First. And for many, many, many reasons, it was just basically a massive, massive slog that basically made me fall out of love with what was once a passion of mine. And so then I kind of went on this mid-20s trip of like backpacking Australia and doing that thing and just forgetting about career for a little bit and going through that. And while I was in Australia, one of the first jobs that I came across and just basically fell into was a sales role for income protection and life insurance for American Express and for Zurich. Completely random, just happened to be there at the time. Did that for 6 months because that's the longest that you can do on the backpacking visa. Liked it, and then forgot about it for a while. Came back to England, did a bunch of different kind of sales roles and bits and pieces, and then ended up landing that job at Drewbury, in part because of my previous experience with income protection, particularly because it's a more of an unknown insurance policy. And that kind of got me into that Drewbury role with some previous experience. Spent about 5 years there. And throughout that time, because it was a wider financial services company, you're constantly surrounded by financial advisors, by paraplanners, and just kind of in that environment. And naturally, given that most people want to kind of level up within their career, that seemed to be like the way to go. So spent years doing protection advice at the same time, then studying to be a financial planner, a financial advisor, got qualified within that. And then basically met this crossroads where financial advice didn't necessarily seem like the right fit, in the fact that, to kind of paint it crudely, although it's not exactly like this, it's almost like perpetuating existing wealth. It's making the rich richer, perpetuating generational wealth and things like that. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that for a lot of people. If you've worked hard for your money, then absolutely, go and do that with it. There's nothing wrong with it. But in terms of an actual satisfaction factor from a career, it's not something that really hit in the same way as when I found at that time financial coaching for the very first time. Didn't know it was a thing. I'd always thought while I was going through this that there was just an obvious massive gap in the market to make financial advice more engaging and more realistic and more accessible to a modern audience, but also a much wider audience. Financial advice is great at what it does, but at the end of the day, it helps about 6% of the UK population, just due to a number of things, that the high entry barriers for either the fees or the amount of investable assets that you need to have. But there are higher entry barriers. And so it can only, by definition and by design, help a smaller number of people. And I thought there was this gap in the market with people that just have genuine financial needs that are currently being just undervalued and ignored because of the basically the price model of the way that financial advice tends to work. And so with that comes things like social media content, comes things where basically you can deliver some of the same value and some of the same lessons, but in a way that people are actually going to be interested in it. Because sometimes in the way that it's delivered, it's not the most entertaining of topics. It's a little bit dry, but it's so relevant. So basically trying to come up with a way to be able to do that en masse to people that make up the majority of the UK, but also in a way that it's going to actually grab people's attention. And that's basically what financial coaching aims to do, or at least what one of the things that it aims to do. And so at that point, I came across Claro, and it was everything that I was thinking I wanted to do, and I was wondering whether to try and do this myself, was exactly the same as what Claro was trying to do as a company. And so it just made complete sense in the fact that they saw it in the same light, that there wasn't this hierarchy that only the financial elite should have access to this kind of knowledge and to this service basically and help. It's almost like democratizing is that the right word? Democratizing access to financial knowledge, financial help, financial assistance. And that's kind of the way that it seems to be going. But yeah, that's where I came across it. So Claro was doing that, and that was the way that I came across it, and then jumped into it. I first actually saw the service on a Facebook ad, and as a consumer, as a customer, I clicked on it and I went, that looks really good. Spent a few minutes on the website and started looking around it, and then it became clear that actually this is a company that I want to work for. So got in contact with them, spoke to Rachel on email, went back and forth a few times, and here I am.